Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Step Into Your Power Online Expo. I have an amazing guest today. She is so incredible. Her name is Patty Meier, and she has such incredible energy. You're just going to love her. She was born and raised in Regina. She was very curious at a young age and has a lot of experience, like herself, and books about mythology, ghosts, any kind of mysteries and of the universe and the mind. So amazing. And she's also the sole proprietor of Sparks of Healing. And she offers soul alignment sessions, sound healing. She's a consulting hypnotist, and she also wrote a book. So there's so much to talk about. She has a lot on the go. And yeah, and it was actually a car accident in 1991 that actually got her along this alternative healing path. So I'm so excited to have her, so excited to introduce her. So I'm just going to get you to jump in here, Patty, and just tell the viewers a little bit about you.
Well, as you said, I'm Patty Meier, and I have Sparks of Healing. I've had my business for, probably about 10 years, but the last 5 years I've really started to ramp up and do some things. And I'm also a Reiki Master, and I teach classes, just started teaching online because of the whole COVID-19 thing. And my favorite thing to teach is I love teaching teens. I love teaching them how to use Reiki, how to get in touch with their bodies and listen to their wisdom. I also channel. So I started channeling 2 years ago. I've channeled sound for 5 years, and I've channeled something that I call the Light of Orion for the last 2 years. So all sorts of crazy things.
Well, you know what? It's all good things. It's all good things that raise your vibration. And the crazier it is, the higher your vibration actually goes. So that's amazing. So yeah, so thank you for being here and sharing your beautiful energy and what we're going to talk about today. So, why did you choose to do what you're doing? If you could do anything at all, what would that be? You did talk about Reiki, and you did talk about the teens, but why did you choose to go along this path of these alternative services that you just mentioned? Why did you choose that?
Well, really, it started with having the car accident in 1991. I lost my sense of smell, actually, and I sought out. I went to a psychic, and she told me to seek out a Reiki healing. And that was back in the day. There was no Google, so she wrote it down on my sheet as R-A-K-I. And there was no Google to say, did you mean R-E-I-K-I? So it took me a while to find Reiki. And I found it in 97, went for a couple sessions, went for my level 1. When I went for my level 2, I had this amazing experience of having realizing that I had a near-death experience when I had the car accident. And that just really, it just changed my life. It took away my fear of dying. It took away any fears I had related to swerving in a car, like losing control of a car. And I think it was all related to that near-death experience. And I've always been into weird and wonderful things, and always wanted to be a teacher. So now I'm teaching, and I'm helping clients. What I really want for my clients is to help them remove anything in their life that holds them back, so that they can bring more joy and peace into their lives. And as you said, raise their vibrations. So, yeah.
That's awesome to do that. Near-death experience, it takes a while to process that, because I actually encountered that as well. I didn't realize what was happening at the time. it probably took a while before I think 6 months, if not longer, before I actually realized hey, I almost did cross over to the other side. And that experience definitely changes a person, and definitely changes your outlook on life. And, even the afterlife, it just totally changes your whole perspective. Can you tell the viewers an aha moment, whether it's with a client or with yourself, something that besides your near-death experience that really altered your life path? Was there something that really, okay, this craziness is real crazy, or real craziness, and it's really working for, what's that aha moment? Maybe you have two, but.
Well, I would say the first one, where I really realized that we do go on. I'd always suspected it. I'd always dismissed, the things that traditional religion told me about heaven and hell and judgment and all of that. And when my dad passed away, I'd always been a believer that when you find coins, that's someone from the other side giving you a message. And I would always find the best parking spots. And I always said, oh, that's my grandma, because she was quite an assertive lady. And so I would get the best parking spots, like in front of the big doors at the Northgate Mall at Christmas time, those kind of parking spots. And I'd always find a coin and say thank you to grandma. So when my dad passed away unexpectedly, instead of finding pennies, I started finding nickels, dimes, quarters. And I said, well, that's my dad, because he's always was competitive, and he would want to show that he's more generous than grandma. So one day, my girlfriend and I were just going for a walk, and I found a quarter, and I said to her, well, that's my dad, and I explained to her my theory. And I looked up at the sky and I said, okay, Dad, if it's really you, how's about a toonie? So my dad had passed away it was still wintertime, and we had to wait until the ground thawed to bury his ashes with his dad, as he wanted, in the small town of Norquay. And so the day that we went to gas up and drive there, I found a toonie on the ground. And then after that, I found a $5 bill. I found a $10 bill while I was mowing the lawn. It was just in front of me on the lawn. And I parked in at work, and a $20 bill blew across the parking lot in front of me. And I picked it up and I said, okay, Dad, I believe it. Thank you. Thank you. And just, that was really the one that was really an affirmation to me that we go on afterwards. And the life-changing moment for me, for how I know I'm on the right path, and how I know that Reiki and spending that time meditating and healing yourself really works, is in 2007, I lost my daughter to cancer. And it was a 14-month battle. She had a brain tumor. And the fact that I have a very strong spiritual base, the fact that I do have that ability to balance myself and connect and ground myself, is truly what I believe got me through that and to the other side. And for that, and it spurred me to move forward in my life and start doing some of the things that I'd always dreamed about. So those are my two big life-changing moments.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear about your daughter, and that would have been a very traumatic experience for you to go through. And thank goodness for alternative healing alternatives to help you, get through that trauma. And I'm just sorry about that. And
thank you. And I always tell Maureen, I always tell people, please don't feel bad for me. Everything that happens in life brings you to who you are at this moment. And at this moment, I'm really pleased with who I am and what I've done. And she gave me many moments in her short life where one day she'd been having a really rough time. And I thought, oh, we're going to have a terrible morning going to the hospital this morning. And instead of having a terrible morning, I put on her favorite music, and and she was singing away to Great Big Sea. So when we got to the hospital and I reached to get her out of her car seat, I said, Alexandra, how did I get so lucky to have such a wonderful girl like you in my life? And she has 3 brothers who she calls her boys. And she said to me, oh, mommy, my boys and I were in your heart a long time before we came from heaven to be with you, you know. We danced in your heart at your wedding. And she just, you know, I know that God could only lend her to me for a little while, and then he needed her back for other things. And she touched so many hearts, and I touched so many hearts sharing her story while she was going through that. And since then, that her mission in life was just accomplished in a shorter amount of time than some of the rest of us. So yeah, that's the way I see it.
What a smart young girl. She's definitely an old soul. Thank you for sharing that story, because heaven is real. And when our children can share their experiences with us, that is so validating that it's real. And yeah, so thank you for sharing that. Can you tell the viewers who your mentors were in life and who really inspired you to get on this path that you're on right now? Because it's such an amazing path. There's such a wonderful things that you're doing for people.
Oh, who are my mentors? Well, one of the biggest life-changing things, I went to a class called sound or soul voice sound healing, and with Karina Scheld, and she was that class and pushing through the things we did with sound was probably, other than giving birth, was probably the most difficult and worthwhile thing that I did. So I did a lot. I did sound healing for myself. I did sounding for my family after that, but never really stepped out of the closet to kind of come out of the closet and present it to other people. And then in around 2013, I think 2015, somewhere in there, I met Bonnie Bogner, and I took several of Bonnie's classes. And when I took her soul alignment class, she required that we do X number of sessions in X period of time in order to be listed as a practitioner on her website. And so doing that, I always tease her that she's my tough love mentor, because she pushed me, but I needed that push to get out of the closet. And I started doing soul alignment, and then I started combining that with sound healing. And that's another thing I love doing for people, is the soul alignment, balancing the chakras, cutting cords, you know, dealing with thought patterns that need to be removed and old wounds, and using sound and energy together. It's just one of my favorite responses from a client is, had a friend who was going through a rough time. She had lost her job and was having a hard time finding the next job. And so I offered to do this for her for free because she just needed a boost. And she went home, and her daughter said, "Mom, what's going on with you? Like, you're so happy." And she goes, I don't know what Patty did with me. It's like she injected me with joy." So my mentors have been the ones who took me to my deepest ancient wounds that needed to be healed, and then pushed me out the door to get out in front of the world and start working with clients. So I'm very grateful for those 2 women especially.
Yeah, we do all need those nudges, and it's so amazing when we can have people in the physical world that can actually guide us. And yes, Bonnie's amazing. She actually was my first teacher as well. She came to Fort Capel and introduced me to the angels. So yeah, so we have something in common. We have a lot in common, actually. Yes. And yeah, so I'm so grateful for Bonnie for guiding me along that process. It was after my car accident too. So definitely, you know, we all have this inner knowing or this inner guidance, and we're using our intuition. We're getting these nudges from people. We're getting nudges from this higher power. Do you believe that this higher power is guiding you and supporting you along your business that you offer people?
I do. Um, I I get scared sometimes, and I check in, and there's always something that, whether it's a song or somebody will send me a meme or a story, or I'll open a book, and I find that when I have questions, I also use goddess cards and that kind of thing too, to get messages. But whenever I start to wonder if I've gone a little too far, and it's are you sure you want to be doing this, Patty? I check in, and I always get reassurance in the coolest way. It definitely through music, a lot through music. I get those messages, and also what I call knowings, where it's a thought that comes into your head that's very, very persistent. And you can try to ignore it, but it'll just keep coming back and back and back until you do the thing, whether it's give a message to somebody or just do that thing. So I do believe that that there's guidance. I believe we tap into it, and it's part of it is our own higher self, and of course our angels and guides. And for me, the light of Orion and channeling that energy is definitely proof positive for me that there's something else going on.
Yeah, whenever I say channel, sometimes people just don't understand that. But channel is just another way of praying. This is how I try and explain it to people. Praying, we're asking for stuff. When we're channeling, we're actually asking and receiving at the same time. So I always like to let people know that that's what we mean about channeling, is that there's actually two different things going on. Do you agree with that, Patty?
I do. So when I channel sound, basically I invite in, the angels, guides, God, Jesus, our higher selves, and the light of Orion. And I invite that energy to come through and bring whatever my client needs in that session. And I find that, for instance, sound, just different sounds will come out, and there'll be times where I'm doing the energy read, and I'll focus on a certain part of the body, and there'll be discordant sounds and beautiful sounds, and sometimes it's very masculine, sometimes it's very feminine, but just being that open channel and allowing that energy to come through to do what it needs to do. And I do believe that is guidance from a higher power for sure. I'm the channel that brings it through. I'm the straw that gets you the milkshake, but I don't know, it definitely, it's not all me, it's not ever me. I'm a facilitator to help the client bring forth the healing in their body that they want to bring forward. So they're doing the work, I'm just facilitating and using the tools that I can to connect them to that ability. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Being the straw to a milkshake. I'm going to remember that one. That's so cool. I love that analogy. That's awesome. Thank you, Patty. So why do you do what you do? Why do you have this passion to help others? What keeps you motivated to keep doing and offering these amazing services that you offer?
Well, people always ask me, how is it that you're always so positive? How is it that these things have happened in your life? And I mean, I'm writing a book on this too, on my own life experiences. And I'm not a stacker, but there's been a lot of things that I've come through. And people say to me, losing your father, losing your daughter, my youngest son has diabetes, and that's as far as I'm going to go down that. It's not a poor me story. I just keep going, and I keep being positive, and I understand that everything happens for a reason. So people keep asking me, how are you still sane? How are you moving forward? How do you always have a smile on your face and a song in your heart? So I want to give people the tools to be able to find that peace and that balance so that they can have the same weird and wonderful life that I have. not exactly the same, but, you know, so that they can find that joy and find that peace and that connection, and to know that they're not alone. They really, really aren't alone.
That's a wonderful message, you know, because right now everybody's being isolated and people are feeling alone right now. And if they had that connection with their spiritual team or the angels, or, you know, it would be such a different way to view life. And you're right, things do happen for a reason, and they're all lessons that we're learning on this life
Mm-hmm.
path. And we chose all these experiences even before we came
Agreed.
to Mother Earth. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so, you know, even though sometimes it's really hard, my dad's on the other side as well, even though it's hard to let our loved ones, you know, leave our lives and not be part of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
we do move on, and they do help us on the other side. So, you know, I love when their energy comes through helping my clients, because, you know, there is a life after this life. And can you tell us, you know, what does your family think about all this work that you're doing? Like, do you have something that really stands out, that like a validation from a client or from a family member that really stands out for you?
Well, my husband is my biggest supporter. He is absolutely wonderful. We've been together. He's not the father of my children. This is my second marriage, and we've been together for 8 years. And he is just the biggest supporter, and believes in. It doesn't seem to matter how, like I said, weird and wonderful it gets. He believes in me. And my children, it's interesting. My boys, they believe and they support me. They're not connected the way that I am. My oldest definitely was when he was a child. He had an angel that he talked to, and it was so cool. That was another affirming moment. Is he had this pink light in his room, and it was scaring him. And I said, well, maybe that's your angel coming to visit you when you sleep, and maybe you could ask, you know, and ask her name. And so a few days later, I checked with them, and I said, so, you know, what happened? Did you find out what that pink light was? Well, yes, it is my angel, Mom. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, did you find out what her name is? And he goes, yeah, but I'm not telling you. And I said, why? And he goes, because you'll laugh, Mom. And I said, I promise not to laugh. Tell me. And he said, her name is Gertrude. Now, where does a little boy around the age of 4 come up with the name Gertrude in today's day and age, you know, or like back then in like 1996? So yeah, they believe in me. They don't do these things for themselves, but they will every so often. They'll give me a message that lets me know they're hearing, that they know that they manifest their lives, and they know to be careful of what they're saying. They're in their 20s, so they forget from time to time, but you know, my family's very supportive.
That's so nice to have that support, to have that foundation. It really helps us move forward when we can have family members that support us and love us and share their experiences with us, because that's what it's all about. We're all here to have an experience, and our family support is number one. So, you know, with everything going on, and with not being able to see clients in person, could you share with the viewers what you're doing online
You
and
bet.
how you're growing your business? So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
You bet. Well, I absolutely can do hypnosis sessions online. I can do soul alignment. My furthest away client that I ever did a soul alignment from was actually in Haiti. So that was pretty cool. Um, and I am now teaching Reiki online as well. I have one lady going through her master teacher training, And I actually have a Reiki class running May the 3rd, Reiki level 1. There's 2 spots left in that. And then the teen class coming up in June the 7th, with more underway. And I have a YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel is also Sparks of Healing, and there is, you can find links to it from sparksofhealing.ca, which is my website. And on my YouTube channel, I have guided meditations, I have a sound healing session, and I'm actually doing, I have something called Sparking Up a Conversation. Everything sparks with me. And Sparking Up a Conversation is a monthly discussion. It used to be a face-to-face discussion group, and I've moved that online. The next one of that is Thursday, April the 30th. And right now it's free. It's usually just $10 just to cover the cost of, tea and coffee and sometimes having guests. But right now it's free and it's online, and it's an hour from 7 to 8. And I'll be channeling a message from the Light of Orion and then taking question and answers. So all of those things are helping to get the message out there. And as you said, I actually was part of a collaboration book. So I have the book right here, Hope for Humanity. And that as well, Bonnie was the one who spearheaded that book. And there's 6 different channels who have messages in the book. It can be purchased all the online places. And I actually still have quite a few copies, about 40 copies here in Regina, and it's $20. So if you're in Regina and you want one, I'll even deliver it, no contact. So I've got, as you said, I've got a lot of things going on, and I just love working with my clients. I love how their faces just light up when they're done a session or when messages come to them. And then the feedback that I get afterwards that, that thing that was bothering me, it's gone now, or that pain is gone, or I'm at peace with that person in my life. So it just brings me joy to help people live a lighter life.
Yeah, you can tell you're so full of joy and happiness. You can just feel that in your energy. I can even feel it on the Zoom. So thank you for being who you be. And I love your smile. It's amazing. Can you please tell the viewers how we can get a hold of you? You said you had a website. Is there other ways that we can get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can text me to 306-536-9849, which is behind me here on the banner. Sparksofhealing.ca. There's and a newsletter there you can sign up for. I do not spam you. It's a newsletter once a month, and that's all. And there's information on my site. I also have a Facebook page, also Sparks of Healing, so you can message me directly through there. Right now, I am still working a full-time job, not Sparks of Healing. So if you want to reach me by the phone during the day, it does need to be a text, not a phone call. But I'm very quick at getting back with messages, with information. So yeah, I don't think I've missed anything. Oh, I have Instagram, Sparks of Healing, and Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm everywhere.
Oh, exactly. We need you to be everywhere. So thank you so much for sharing your joy, sharing your energy with the viewers today. I know you bought those extra books for the expo. So please, people, buy her books. She bought extra for the expo that we had to postpone till probably next year. So it's an amazing book to read. And, it's been so amazing to have you here, Patty, and sharing your story and sharing who you are. This is what it's all about, is for viewers to find out who is Patty and what does she have to offer. And it's so nice to have you here and to share that information. If there's any final words or any final message that you want to give the viewers, what would that be?
Well, I know during this time with COVID-19 and being in quarantine, it's really easy to start to feel like you're alone or to start to be fearful. And I just want to say that, you know, the most important thing is just to stay positive and to live in the moment that you're in. Thinking about what might happen and having worries about the future, it just takes you out of the moment. And you know, there's that old adage like, yesterday is history and tomorrow is a mystery, and the present, that right now is all we have, and that's why they call it the present, because it's a gift. So just know that you are connected to your higher self, and know that you can be grounded to Mother Earth. If I recommend highly to go onto my YouTube channel and use the tree meditation that's there. It really will help you get grounded and connected and feel better. 3 deep breaths even will just make you feel so much better. And reach out. If you're feeling alone, reach out, because there is someone in the world who loves you. There's someone in the world who you mean the world to. And just reach out. You're not, you might be alone in your house, but you're not alone in your heart. We're all in this together, and we'll come out the other side better.
Thank you so much for sharing that. People really need that right now. And thank you for offering the gift that you are to the world, and those amazing meditations. I got to go check them out too. So thank you again, Patty, for being here and sharing your amazing energy. Namaste, beautiful lady.
Thank you for this opportunity.
You're so welcome. Thanks everybody for joining us, and God bless.